got one that can see.
Day 23, reading the Epstein Files out loud until sick bastards are tossed feet first into wood chippers. This email really pissed me off. It's between Mark Epstein, or Ismo, and Jeffrey Epstein. Mark emails Jeffrey, "Do you remember the name of the gynecologist that you used to send your victims to?" Epstein replies, "New York?" As if there's multiple. Mark replies, "Yes, many years ago, you used to send them to a gyno in New York who once commented something to the effect that you were keeping him in business single-handedly. Every single doctor that worked with him should be prosecuted." Day 23, reading the Epstein Files out loud until sick fucks are tossed feet first into wood chippers. This is an extremely disturbing email, and I have been kind of avoiding reading this one out loud. It's between Olivier Colum and Epstein. He is in finance. Olivier emails Epstein, says, "Thanks, very nice of you. Where are you now?" Epstein replies, "On my island in the Caribbean with an aquarium full of girls." Olivier responds, "The king of Saudi Arabia has a few white sharks at his Jeddah palace. I totally prefer yours. Sure, I would enjoy the view." Epstein replies, "As to our Russian, I guess some might refer to them as white sharks." Olivier responds, "As long as you don't have any hammer-headed ones, ... I like white sharks." Epstein replies, "No, some are like shrimp. You throw away the head and keep the body." Olivier replies, it gets worse. Olivier replies, "I like shrimp, but not so much if it's too pink, although I'm definitely more into white than into any other color. I like your philosophy." Epstein replies to Olivier and says, "I can't even think of the smell of black shrimp. Ugh." Wood chipper. Day 24, reading the Epstein Files out loud until sick fucks are tossed feet first into wood chippers. I'm going to reread the very first file that I read on my page because I think this survivor deserves to have more people hear her story. This is her diary. "Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. Don't speak, she doesn't talk. I can't stop shaking, and it's been a week. A decision was made, but I can't tell Jeffrey. These things happen. Why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? The doctor was different again, I think from Israel. He had kind eyes but didn't speak directly to me. This was different. A shot in those rod-like things and a hook and so much pain. Ghislaine said to push all the pain away. I don't understand. Blood and water all over the bed, and she was right. Like a feeling when your tummy hurts and you have to push. She said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes, but I didn't close them because of these tiny cries. I am so lost. I saw between her fingers this tiny head and body in the doctor's hands. It reached its tiny arm up and had a tiny foot. I closed my eyes and no more cries. I don't understand. Just say these things happen, but he doesn't believe that. They yelled and screamed, and he said it will be the same in a couple of months, and she said she was fed up with it all. I don't understand what's going on, and no one will tell me. I can't go to school like this. I can't stop shaking. Why won't anyone make it stop? I know Ghislaine is trying, but nothing changes. Why didn't I close my eyes?" In the hall, Ghislaine said she was beautiful. She was, not is. She was a beautiful girl. I heard her. Where is she? Why did she stop whimpering? She was born. I heard the tiny cries. I can't do this anymore. She includes some poems. He was right. A couple of months and 2 pink lines with a hold on being with others until after it was positive. I want to die. Why didn't she protect me? As long as I'm wearing what you want, there's no respect for me as a human. I am nothing but your property and incubator. You only trust me when I'm under your complete control. I will never trust another man ever. I am the only one who provides and sacrifices everything. I give and give out of terror, and you take all of me. You need me to continue, keeping us all connected. This is not surprising, but there is no such thing as a child prostitute. They are children and cannot consent. They are missing the biggest in my own backyard and so many more, like Mar-a-Lago, where I see Mr. Joe and Mrs. Ann. Please release me from this torture and hell. Controlled all by Jeffrey all the time. Get away from it all and go to New Mexico. What in the hell? This makes no sense. What about school? Behind the scenes, he is now controlling everything, when it used to be Ghislaine, who some days acts like she hates me. Secrets of all of them. I am tired of keeping this secret. I know people are wondering, but I can't tell. I am exhausted. Broken promises. I don't understand why she is treating me on some days like I'm the enemy, but then when we lay in bed together, and she is how she used to be, warm. He makes her feel my tummy, and it's so sad and confusing. Superior gene pool? Why me? It makes no sense. Why my hair color and eye color? This feels very Nazi-like, but in thinking about these stupid, insane theories he has, I guess in his mind it makes sense. The piano and music comments are made to convince me that this is right and will create the perfect offspring, he calls them. I don't think it works that way, and it's making me hate playing altogether. Piano or viola, I am starting to resent them both. I miss the person I was before I was made into what feels like a human incubator. My friend, Redacted, realized much of everything and came to get me out of Mary's. She made me leave all things of value on the bed. She put all of my belongings in trash cans. I have maybe avoided New Mexico. I have been staying with friends, but never more than 2 or 3 nights because my mother is on the warpath. Redacted have been so great, but Redacted saw me changing and knows about the baby. He said he promises to help me, and we will figure out what to do. My heart belonged to her. She was so very beautiful. She was perfect. I can't bring myself to write what happened. I am beyond broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. She is mine. I want her back. Distraught. Help me. Please, can't anyone find me? Barely survived all those procedures. My heart is gone. April 22nd, I had no choice. I wasn't ready, and she wasn't ready. My mother had found me, and it was urgent. After so many bonding moments with Jeffrey Ghislaine, their baby inside of me, with me in the middle, she wouldn't even look at me. We said nothing to one another, and I was so confused. When we arrived at Palm Beach, I was taken to a house close to Jeffrey's, I think called Ocean Boulevard or Street. But it was close, and I was alone, except for a new driver, not Mr. Juan. An elderly French lady whose pictures on the wall didn't have her. She had a thick accent and was kind. Said she had been born to deliver babies and had been doing so before I was born. Similar as the last one, with a shot and hook, but too much blood with so much water and unbearable pain. She put her hands inside of me and seemed worried. I didn't understand. Something about the baby facing the wrong way and putting pressure on a placenta. Things would have to be different. She said I had to be brave and strong and listen to her directions so she could safely get the baby out. I was terrified seeing so much blood on the bed and floor and started to panic. She had to flip me over to my hands and knees and had me push, and it was excruciating. I could feel everything as she tried to guide the baby out, but I was so tired. I felt like I was dying, but suddenly she caught a beautiful baby girl who made more than a whimper, but beautiful cries. She let me hold her and washed her and brought her back clean and perfect. She smelled so good and showed me how to feed her. But only after 15 minutes, Mr. M came to take her. I was hysterical and begging for more time. He said those horrible girls were in the car waiting, but I wouldn't let her go. The old woman promised me that she'd be safe, and I had to let go. 4 pounds, 10 ounces, 18.5 inches long, with beautiful long fingers. I am dead inside. Life has no meaning. I don't want to be here. She included another poem. Jean-Luc Brunel is a disgusting pig with bad breath, and I am almost positive does these disgusting things because he is struggling with maybe being gay. 6 weeks wasn't even given before being sent back. Punishment for trying to run. Why can no one help me? Ghislaine is gone. I am so lost and my heart is broken. Is this my destiny? I need all of them, everyone, all to see. I still dream of a better world. She went from being a beautiful young girl to a sad, broken child, but maybe I hope that after it all, I still truly had it within herself. One day I aspire to be like this. She came in like a lamb and went out like a lioness. Wood chipper. Day 24, reading the Epstein Files until sick bastards are tossed feet first into wood chippers. This is an email from Martin Nowak, Harvard professor, still employed, to Ghislaine Maxwell on August 25th, 2002. Martin writes, Dear Ghislaine, many thanks again for your amazing hospitality. I am so very sorry that I caused you so much worry and that I spoiled this day. I am so happy that I did not kill anybody. My perspective of life has changed somehow. Lots of love, Martin. Here's another one. Martin Nowak to Ghislaine, August 25th, 2002. G, I am not over it. I'm thinking about it all the time. May I phone you? I need to talk. Are you on the island? My number is redacted. M. Another one. From Martin to Jeffrey, February 11th, 2014, 12 years after that other email. Dear Jeffrey, I can definitely come to the island on March 1st. I would love this very much. I need to investigate about the Russian. She is still away. M. There's more, but I'll do more videos. Day 19, reading the Epstein Files until these sick bastards are tossed feet first into wood chippers. This is a 10-page FBI document that goes over a very long survivor statement. I'm going to skip past the first few pages and get to where it talks about when the abuse started occurring. She was around 13 to 15 at this time. After approximately the 4th interaction with Epstein that summer, a period of time elapsed, and Epstein began living/staying at a different residence. On one occasion, Redacted and her friends were at a pool one night, possibly at the Marriott Hotel. Long redacted sentence. She recalls long redacted sentence, being present. Epstein showed up alone at the pool. Redacted believed that when he showed up, one of her friends, must have seen him. Redacted left with Epstein, and he got her to leave without using violence. They went back to his house. She reiterated that it was a different residence than his previous home. When they arrived, it was the same kind of bullshit. Epstein asked Redacted who her friends were. If she told her friends... Sorry, I lost my place. If she told her friends, and if her friends wanted to come party, Redacted said no. She did not tell her friends, and no, they didn't want to come party. Redacted stated that Epstein sent her on what she referred to as missions to find young girls who wanted to party. On approximately the fifth interaction, Redacted recalled having with Epstein, other people were present. She vaguely remembers other girls around older men, but didn't recognize anyone. Two of the men were fat and disgusting with Santa stomachs. However, one man was heavier than the other. With respect to the recognizing individuals from the area, Redacted stated that Redacted Island was small. She knew most girls her age, and the fact that she didn't recognize any of the girls partying with Epstein and his friends made her wonder where they came from. There was a beach near the hotels known by locals and some vacationers to a place to party. When asked about the men present during the fifth interaction, Redacted advised one of the men physically and verbally abused her. She remembered he pulled her hair and beat the shit out of her. She thought it was strange that he stomped on her big toe. He hit her with a belt or a similar object. She had no idea what it was about. His abusive actions were not sexual, except he masturbated at certain points while abusing her. She couldn't recall having bruises she could not recall having bruises after the man beat her. She said it was a very long evening that went into the morning. Her mother was not concerned that she didn't go home that night because it was common for her to stay at friends' house sometimes. At this point, her mother was not aware of any abuse going on. With respect to bruising incurred from any of the abusive interactions with Epstein, Redacted stated, I must have had bruises, but I don't remember my friend saying anything. She didn't go to the hospital. She didn't incur broken limbs. Redacted thought she may have had a few knots on her head after interactions with him, too. Epstein took photographs of her during sexual activity because she found images of herself in the drawer during her third interaction with him. She vaguely recalled Epstein taking the pictures. Epstein took Polaroid pictures of her. Some were just of her breasts, others depicted only her face, and some showed her whole body. She remembered she was wearing one of Epstein's shirts in at least one photograph that he took. She described the shirt as very crispy and possibly blue or white. She said a tripod came to mind as well and was possibly involved at some point. She does not recall any other men taking photographs of her. She estimates that she has had more than 6 and less than 20 sexual interactions with Epstein over time. Epstein told Redacted, at least on one occasion, that the dark was his time. Redacted was Epstein's main contact on the island. When they were there with others, Epstein appeared to be the leader and others deferred to him. She only talked to Epstein. They abused me, but I didn't talk to them. I wanted to be in a good place with Epstein, better to get him people to party with than to be partied on. At this point, someone advised that she felt shame. She said, yeah. She advised that during several of her interactions with Epstein, she was drugged, which was not fine, but better than being sober. With respect to the sexual abuse she endured by him and the associates, she remembered that once she began introducing him to girls she met on the beach, he and Redacted seemed to come to an understanding. He would tell her that she was a good girl. You're my good girl now. She said she felt like she had to eat or be eaten. Redacted detailed a separate and possibly 6th incident with Epstein. When Redacted was approximately 15 years old, she went to a Rick James concert with her friend Redacted and Redacted mother in Savannah, Georgia. Epstein was at the concert and surprised her. When Redacted saw Epstein, she knew she had to go with him. He had a flask and got her drunk. She was also high on marijuana. He kept her isolated at the concert so long that Redacted and Redacted mother left her and drove back to Redacted Island. They later told Redacted that they looked for her for a long period of time. She stated that she imagined they were terrified when they couldn't find her. She couldn't recall the entire evening, but she knew that Epstein left her at some point. She found herself walking alone, high on marijuana, and thinking, how am I going to get back to the island? I've been left here. At some point while walking around, the police picked her up. She remembered thinking that her mom was going to be pissed because she got her ears pierced. The police photographed her and kept her alone in a real jail cell. She could not remember whether they fingerprinted her or if she were formally arrested. She recalls eating fried chicken while in jail, and her mother and brother picked her up and drove her home. Another incident with Epstein when he took her off the island when she was between 13 to 15 years old. He drove her to New York or New Jersey and introduced to someone with money. It was DT. Epstein liked to include DT. It was a very tall building with huge rooms. DT did not like redacted from the get-go. He didn't like that I was a boy-girl, referencing that she were a tomboy. Redacted could not recall the identities and if anyone else was present. However, they all exited when DT asked everyone to leave the room. He said something to the effect of, "Let me teach you how little girls are supposed to be," unzipped his pants, and put Redacted's head down to his penis, and she bit the shit out of it. He struck her and said, "Get this little bitch the hell out of here." At that point, people re-entered the room, and there was no further information provided. She recalls a beautiful blonde woman approaching her at some point, saying, "Let me give you a little tip, girl. Your breasts wear a bra every night." She got the feeling that the relationship between Epstein and DT included a certain amount of jealousy. DT appeared jealous of Epstein, and then at some point they kind of ended up looking like they were on the same playing field. Trump and Epstein sometimes used the terms fresh meat, untainted, and not jaded while referring to little girls. This file is EFTA 02858488. Sorry, that was kind of a hard one to read and not mess up reading. Day 18, reading the Epstein Files until these bastards are tossed feet first into wood chippers. This one is a tough read. It is another survivor statement. I was taken to an underground location. I was blindfolded, so I would not know exactly where I was at. It was dark and we went through doors. We went downstairs and there was also an elevator in the location. I was kept in a stall. It looked like a horse stall that had short walls on the sides so you could see inside. It wasn't really to keep me and the other girls inside of it, but to make it so that we could be viewed. Epstein would walk past each girl, including myself, with a lot of men following him, and they would judge us. He told me I was fat and ugly, so that's what he called me. He forced me to have sex with a dog, and he said I had to pretend it was him to see if I performed well. He said if I performed well, I could be his girlfriend, then I would be allowed to be upstairs, he called it. He said the girls upstairs were pretty and they were his girlfriends. He then raped me and said I was evil because I liked it. I couldn't make my body stop feeling, so he said I had to go to the holding place to pray hard enough to be able to go upstairs with the other girls. There were a lot of pictures of girls naked all over the walls. I had to pray hard to be like them, he said. The girls that he said performed well enough went with the line of all of the men, and they left. I was chained up. In Virgin Islands, I was on a Royal Caribbean cruise ship. They stopped there. I was 17 years old. Redacted. I was blindfolded and taken to an underground location. It had steps that went down. I was graped by Jeffrey Epstein, and there were men that graped me. I was kept in a stall so that men could look at me. He said I was an animal and that he was perfect. If I had sex with him, that I wouldn't be such an animal. I was chained up. He said if I wanted to be graped because I wanted to be graped because I wanted to be more like him. I'm going to scroll down to the next part. It asks here, when you were trafficked, did you or anyone receive compensation? I never received anything. The traffickers received money, antiques that were worth a lot of money. If you refused to have sex with men, did your traffickers physically or psychologically harm you? Yes. They poked me with needles in the back of the legs. I was shocked with an electric machine in my head. I was told I was evil constantly. For example, I would walk out of the room. They killed the fish that was in the fish tank. When I returned to the room, they would say, "Why did you kill the fish?" They made me think that I was so evil that I did bad things that I didn't remember doing. The psychological abuse was constant every day. It asks if he had any other men and women with them and if she were forced to have sex with them. It says, I was brought to him by my traffickers, redacted. He then trafficked me for sex with the men that he had with him. What type of intercourse did Epstein have with you? How often was he violent? Did he attempt to photograph or video the activity? I was raped by Jeffrey Epstein multiple times. He was threatening to kill and harm other children if I didn't do what he said. He had video cameras, he said, and if I didn't do what they said, that they would see that I caused the other children to get hurt and I would go to jail. Did he call you any certain names or refer to you by a name? He called me fat and ugly. He called some of the children that he chose to go places with him his girlfriend. Now asks, were you trafficked by fraud, force, or coercion? It says, I was born into sex trafficking. I was trafficked beginning at my earliest memory. I do not remember a time that I was not trafficked for sex. Long redacted line. There were many men who brought me to their home to have sex with me. I was taken to many states in the U.S. to sell me. I was forced by threat by redacted and Epstein of being killed, bodily harm, and threats of harming the other children if I did not have sex with them and any other people that they sold me to. The rape and sex trafficking with Epstein happened, redacted. I was about 5 to 6 years old at that time. Day 17, reading the Epstein Files. We are on part 3 of a very long survivor statement email. Caller reported that in '87, a friend was out drinking and ended up at DT Plaza. She saw DT and wanted to meet him. An unknown man approached her and offered to introduce them. He gave her a drink and she woke up naked and sore with $300 on the bed, not remembering how she got to the room. She remembered seeing a flash of DT's face. She called her friend and told her that she thought she had been raped. She did not go to the hospital because she didn't think anyone would believe her, especially because she had been drinking. Victim 1's husband's business had problems with suppliers, and they believed DT was behind it. She also started dating a lawyer, identifier as unknown, who was married. She had a fight with the lawyer boyfriend and went to a bar. She left the bar with a man who no one in the bar recognized, but did seem familiar with the victim. The victim was never seen again. A few years later, remains that matched the description of what she was wearing when it went missing were found. In 2004 or 2005, Sir Ivan Wilzig hosted a party where Epstein, Sammy Sosa, and DT were in attendance. Patti LaBelle's PR agent stood at the door. At the party, caller met an individual who was approximately 18 to 23 years old and was brought from Oklahoma for a modeling job, but then sold to a man in France. Several women were being auctioned, and a woman known as Colette was the madam. A couple of years later, she saw Colette at the Cheetah Club in New York, and she told one of Santos' friends that Jamie Foxx was interested in spending the night with her and that he could pay her a lot of money. Next file. DT had parties at Mar-a-Lago called Calendar Girls. Epstein would bring the children in, and DT would auction them off. He measured the children's vulva and vaginas by inserting a finger and rated the children on tightness. The guests were elderly men and included Elon Musk, DT Jr., his sister, and their brother were also there. Alan Dershowitz was there, and Bob Shapiro. We were taken in rooms, forced to give oral to DT, forced to allow them to penetrate us. I was 13 years old when he raped me. Ghislaine Maxwell was also present. There's a few more. Redacted reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform oral. That's actually the same one. Maybe. Yeah, sorry, apparently they just included them twice, so that is all of them on this file. The file number, if you want to look at it yourselves, is EFTA 01660651.